This is Tokoz Pro 400. It's a disc detainer lock made by Tokoz. Here you can see the key. And although this lock shares some functional similarities to, say, Abloy Protec, especially the construction of this lock is quite unique, I would say. Hopefully, as you will see in a couple of minutes. So now let's get to picking. I'm starting from the back of the lock. So disc number 8. Now number 7. Let's go for number 5. Come on. And number 2. And as you can see, the lock is picked. Although this might seem quite scary, the fact is that this lock is very easy bitting. There are actually only 4 discs that I have to touch to open it. Also, as witnessed by the security card, only discs 3, 1, 1 and 3 needs to be touched. Number 4s are actually, say, 0 lifts. So yeah, this lock I got quite lucky when I got it. The other thing is, yeah, I practiced a lot on this lock and I know the bitting. Without knowledge of the bitting, this picking method would not be possible at all, because the disc blocking system is quite effective in absolutely destroying the feedback you might get otherwise. Also, there's another thing which is quite different compared to usual pin tumblers. When the lock is opened, you can spin it however you want in one direction, because as long as you keep the discs at their position, the lock stays unlocked. I can actually reverse the direction, but if I go through the position where the spring-loaded ball bearing engages, now discs are let's say scrambled or put back to their initial configuration, and the lock is closed at this point. Here's the tool I used. Pretty crude, but does the job. So just for comparison, this is Tokoz Pro 300. The 400 version has somewhat different shape of the front of the lock, and also the body of the 300 is, I think, some zinc-based alloy, while the 400 is cast steel, so the 400 is much sturdier and more robust against brute force attacks. As far as disassembly of this lock is concerned, the pins that are used have nice dimples, so you know which way to push them out. I got these pushed out just so I don't need a hammer to get these pin outs. And there's actually one thing to keep in mind when disassembling this lock. If you'd take out this pin and the back part of the lock, you'll have very hard time reassembling the lock because there's a hidden spring-loaded ball bearing. Here you can see the spring, and if you keep the steel part in, you'll have very hard time keeping the ball at the right place. It's possible, I've done that, and it's definitely no fun. Now let's take out the core. I should say the core is completely the same regardless of whether it's Tokoz 300 or 400. There's absolutely no difference in the locking mechanism. Here's the front spinner that protects against drilling of the lock, and here's the body. Hopefully you can see the sidebar groove and also the channel through which the ball bearing protrudes in here. It helps to stabilize the core at the point where the sidebar can be retracted. Here's the sidebar. It's just a L-shaped piece of round wire. Not much to be seen in there. The L shape is there to prevent attacks where you drill the front of the lock and pull the sidebar out. There's a spring that holds the core so it doesn't wobble. This part of the back of the core actuates the cam. Here's the channel for the sidebar, and here's the place where the spring loaded ball bearing interacts with the core, stabilizing it in this position. Here the rods from the disc blocking system ride, and this is the channel for the sidebar. Well, let's do it this way. As you can see, the core itself is, say, insect-like shaped. It's because let's say the housing of the core is made consists of the washers between the code discs. This last disc is not actually a code disc. It's a disc that steers the disc blocking system rods. So when you turn the key like 90 degrees, one of the rods gets pressed against the top of the code discs where the notches for the disc blocking system are, and it actually freezes the disc at its current rotation. It's quite effective measure against picking because it absolutely destroys the feedback that would otherwise tell you whether the disc is in the gate or whether it's not. Here you can see the washer It's, I guess, quite easy to manufacture, just a pressed steel part, quite thin, and here is where the disc locking system rods are riding. This protrusion is for the sidebar to allow its retraction, and the rest just keeps the washers steady and helps to form the sturdy core, or the core housing, let's say. Now let's take the first code disk. So the middle part is where the key interacts with the disk. Here you can see the gates for the sidebar. There are no false gates, and on the top these slight serrations form the disc locking system. Actually, one of the rods presses inside of the notch and freezes the disc at its current rotation. There are actually only 4, let's say, cut depths in this lock, so let's say the key space is not very vast, but it's comparable to usual pin tumblers, so it's not that bad. And here you can see the disc locking system rods riding on the top of the discs. So as I said, there are 8 code discs. All the washers are the same. The lock itself is made for easy manufacturing. One thing that's, I guess, different to alloys is the fact that the code discs are also steel, so they are also quite thin, so it's not as easy to keep the pick on the disc. And here you can see the disc controller. This square part is where the last disc sits. Also, this last disc is somewhat thicker than the rest of discs, and it actually, along with these grooves, it helps to, or it's designed to steer the disc locking system the way that it freezes the code discs at their rotation, preventing the feedback. Also, this front part contains 2 spring-loaded ball bearings that prevent the rotation of the key thanks to this notch, which is in the sidebar groove in front of the lock. As long as the key is not fully inserted, the ball bearings will not allow rotation of the core. Only when they enter these dimples the key can be turned. It also helps to keep the key steady, so there's no way you could pull it out when the key is turned any other way than the correct way. Also, this part is what dictates the profile of the key. Here on the code card you can see the T04, which is the profile designation. There are a couple of profiles available. To be honest, I have no idea how many there are, but I've seen at least 2 in the locks I own. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much everything. Now let's go for the close-up. So let's see. There's a sidebar, the spinner, the pins, and the spring-loaded ball bearing. On the left side, there are the disc blocking system rods, and here are the washers that also form the, let's say, the core itself, or its housing, let's say. So here's the key, the disc controller, the tailpiece, and the code discs. As I said, there are 8 code discs. The 9th disc is just for the disc blocking system steering. Here's the detail of the grooves of the disc controller. As you can see, it matches the last disc. And as I said, that's the bitting of the lock. Yeah, as I said, I was quite lucky to get it like that. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching and goodbye.